Hi, I'm Joy.
Hi, I'm Lorraine.
And this is Girlish Gurus. And Lorraine, why are we here?
We're here to talk about mid-lifestyle topics for women who are 45 and older to help you live your best, healthiest, and most fulfilled life. We're also going to have lots of fun along the way.
Be sure to stick around until the end for fun announcements and goodies you won't want to miss.
So let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Girlish Gurus. I'm Joy.
And I'm Lorraine.
Oh, Lorraine, what are we talking about today?
Well, if you've ever thought, why does my body feel like it's working against me? This episode is for you. And today we're talking about infrared saunas. And to help us do that, we have a very special guest. We have Connie Zack. And she is the co-founder of Sunlighten, the global leader in infrared sauna and light therapy. Inspired by her brother's health transformation, she and her husband, Aaron, left successful pharmaceutical careers to revolutionize the industry with science-backed innovations. Connie is a pioneer in infrared light technology, driving widespread education on its benefits through collaborative partnerships. A passionate advocate for holistic health, just like us,
Yep.
Connie integrates nutrition, exercise, mindfulness, and infrared therapy into her life. As a mother, wife, wellness enthusiast, and entrepreneur, she brings light, hope, and happiness to the world through her expertise in how infrared light and heat impacts healthy lifespan. Welcome, Connie.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. You guys are awesome.
Oh, we're so excited to have you. As we said before we jumped on, I have my Sunlighten right in my office.
Yay.
Right
That's a great place. That is such a great place to have it. You just pop in there when you need a little bit of time to de-stress. Oh my gosh, I love that.
I love it. I've had it for 3 years. Absolutely love it. And we're going to jump into a little bit about how I've received benefits from it, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But why don't we get started with how you came about starting this company? It has a powerful origin story, I know, with your brother. So how did it get started?
Yeah, thanks for asking. It was a very long time ago, over 25 years ago. So hard to believe. We are all in St. Louis, and my brother was chronically ill. He had tried every type of treatment. His symptoms were he was extremely fatigued. He had pain all over his body. He had vertigo. He was nauseous, fibromyalgia. I mean, he was just absolutely miserable, so young, and he couldn't do anything. He had to quit his job. I mean, everything. It was just really a horrible, horrible thing to watch somebody you love go through this and basically not be able to get out of bed. And then his dentist, shone the light on a technology called infrared. And his dentist said, I think what's happening, Jason, is your fillings in your mouth are leaking out the mercury that's in them. And the mercury is going into your body and it's being trapped because mercury is very heavy and it's sitting there and it's stuck. And so it's really impacting all of your different systems and you're not able to live a healthy life. Your body is just totally clogged up. And he said, this technology called infrared, there's some science behind the fact that it may detoxify the body from heavy metals without any type of invasive treatment. So it's like, I think you should do your own research and see what you find out. And my brother did, and he bought an infrared sauna and it changed his life. And this was, 20, 25, 26 or longer than that. This is a long time ago. And I saw the transformation and I was working, both Aaron and I were working at P&G, like you said in the intro, in the pharmaceutical side. And I was, as Aaron was, we were both really personally and professionally committed to leaving a legacy in this world. And we really wanted to leave this world a healthier place. So we were super passionate about the work we were doing in pharma and trying to help people feel better. At the time, obviously, it was through medicine and those types of treatments. That's all we knew. And when I saw this happen, the transformation, my brother in the comfort of his own home, without side effects, without medication, completely transformed his body back into his normal body. I was like, oh my gosh, what if there, is a technology that you don't need medicine that can completely, cure? That was really the difference was what I was doing was treating a condition and making the person feel as good as they could, right? But depending on what we were doing, for example, when we had a product for hypertension, which would help with hypertension, but it would also give all sorts of side effects.
Right.
It affected
Mm,
libido,
right.
it affected urination, affected getting up in the middle of the night, all that stuff. So, I thought would be an amazing if somebody could study this. I started doing my own research, found a bunch, but it was early. Nobody knew about it. It was all in Asia. So that, Aaron and I left our corporate careers crazy. We took out a mortgage on my adorable little home and mortgaged my cars and, cashed in any type of investments, any type of savings I had. I mean, we were all in and, went to town trying to bring this technology to the world, and that's what we've been doing. And so our goal is to help people again feel better as a result of what we do every day, and ultimately be able to do more of what they love to do with the people they love to do it with, and live their fullest life possible. So that's our promise that we're giving to the world.
Well, thank you, because it has made such a difference in my life. Thank you and Aaron for taking those steps and just being so courageous to put it all on the line. And now you have a success story. So it's wonderful. And how many thousands, if not millions, probably, of people that you're helping. That's
Oh, thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you. It's
amazing.
it's it's been definitely a journey. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and it's really, I always tell people when they ask me about going into business, I said, you know what, you have to be prepared for
Mm.
not only an emotional roller coaster, but a physical roller coaster. I mean, you have to be prepared to go on a ride. And the key about this ride is you don't know when you're going up, and and you don't know when you're coming down. And so, the goal is never to have the highs too high and never have the lows too low. And,
Mhm.
to always keep moving. Somebody told me once, as a pioneer, they said the key to being a successful pioneer is to like physically keep moving, because it's much harder to shoot you if you're always moving.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So I just think about that all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep moving and keep charging, and there's gonna be arrows that come at me. I
Yeah.
just, hope they don't hit me.
And then you could just jump in the sauna to recharge. That's
There you
all.
go. There you go. Yeah. And melt away,
Yeah.
all the stresses. Yeah, it sounds wonderful right now, actually.
Well, that is an amazing story. I
Aw, thank
mean,
you.
I know a fair amount about Sunlighten because of Lorraine. And we've known each other for I don't know how many years, but Lorraine has been a key player in my health and wellness, especially since I was in perimenopause when we kind of started becoming fast friends. And also, as a content creator, I'm constantly on social media and et cetera, et cetera. I see now a lot of like infrared masks and all that content about anti-aging and et cetera, et cetera. What I don't see is an explanation about infrared technology. So, can you, for our audience, explain what exactly infrared technology is?
Yeah, I would love to. I love this wavelength so much. So, infrared, the word infrared constitute a spectrum of light. Infra means below, and red is obviously what red is. It's like below the visible part of the light spectrum. So the infrared spectrum comes directly from the sun's light spectrum. The majority of the sun's rays are within that spectrum. So I always say infra is a spectrum within the spectrum. And what's important about that, because I wish I knew all of this back in the basement, because I mean, it was so challenging to try to educate people back then. And, people just thought, this is like, was it cooking me? Is it a microwave? So, I mean, I've learned so much over the years. But anyway, back to infrared, and what's so important to understand is it is safe and natural, that comes directly from the sun. And the sun has been around forever, because people are like, oh, this is like new and like, trendy. And I'm like, well, so is the sun. I mean, the sun's been around for a very long time. This is not new. People are just starting to grasp, little kind of digestible nuggets. And the danger in that is they only get like a little part of the nugget, right? They only get a part of the knowledge. And hopefully today we can talk a little bit more about the breadth of it. We won't cover everything. So anybody who's listening, that always comes up to me, they get asked, like, there's so much to learn. I'm
Mhm.
just going to keep this high level. And if you have more questions, you can reach out and, we can always do, a follow-up episode. But
Yeah.
today I'm just going to start
Absolutely.
with the high level. So that's what the spectrum is. Let's talk a little bit about the what's in it, and let's talk a little bit how it feels, and then I also want to mention how it's different than traditional heat.
Right.
Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just cover the traditional heat because that's really quick and easy. So traditional heat, which is what happens, when you go into a steam sauna or a dry sauna and you have the temperature north of 170 degrees. So it's hot, right? That's the definition of hot. And so you walk into that sauna and you instantly, it
Right.
almost takes your breath away sometimes. You just
Mhm.
go, oh my God, this is so hot. You instantly get hot because the transfer is from the heat source to the air and the air to you. That's the way that heat source works, traditional heat. Infrared is so incredibly different and way more complex, which is why a lot of people don't understand it. And it is multidimensional. So, and before I go into the multidimensional, I really want to let people know how it feels because this is super important. It goes back to the sun. Like say you're in air conditioning. So all of us right now are inside, right?
Mhm.
And sometime, hopefully today, we're all gonna go outside. And let's just hope that the sun is shining when we go outside. It does not matter how cold, how warm it is. That's not relevant to infrared. So it doesn't matter. If the sun is shining, you go outside and you're like, oh my God, you feel the sun's
Yes.
rays hit your body. There's a feeling that comes with
Mhm.
that everybody loves. Sometimes you'll even actually see somebody like look up and they're just like stand there for a moment. I'm like, oh my God, this feels so good. That
Mhm.
is infrared energy. That's what infrared feels like. That's what it feels like inside the sauna. Okay, now let's talk about the multidimensional, multi-layered aspect of infrared. So within the spectrum, there's four different parts. I chunk it out between the heat, the light spectrum that's felt by heat, and then the light spectrum that's seen by light. Okay, so there's heat and light, which makes it so much more complex than traditional heat because you're getting both parts. And our body, girls, are solar panels. Like we're made of chromophores, right? Like our body, we have to have light in order to activate all of our systems. It just has to happen. Otherwise, you get really depressed and you're deprived and you feel deprived. So there's far infrared, and I'm not going to go again deep, 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 but everybody should know when they listen to this that it's multidimensional and there's four different layers, there's four different dimensions, and that's one key difference between traditional heat and traditional saunas. So far infrared, that wavelength is the coolest and the longest that goes and is absorbed into your water molecules. Dr. Bland always says it makes your water molecules start to dance. And what's great about the way they start to dance is they move around inside your body and start to impact all of your different systems, but they don't break any bonds. There's no damage. They just start the flow of everything that gets your body going back to homeostasis and increases your core temperature, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's mid infrared, which is shorter wavelength and it's hotter. Then those are the two heat mechanisms. Now we're going to near infrared. Oh, I love this wavelength so much. I hope we get to talk about it just a little bit. I know we won't talk about it a lot, but it's so, so powerful. We discovered this. We introduced it to the world 16 years ago. We discovered about 18 years ago from Dr. Harry Wieland, who studied near infrared in space on helping people heal wounds because they needed a way to do it in the
Wow.
without gravity. So near infrared is the invisible part of the light spectrum. It's so hot that you have to convert it to LEDs in order to receive the benefits. But it's so powerful with the body, it will actually go all the way through the body. And you
Wow.
can measure that. You can shine it.
Wow.
Dr. Jeffrey's done this, and you can shine it on your back, and then you can measure the wavelength on the front. It's just spectacular. And it has a significant impact on our mitochondria and our energy levels, as well as our glucose levels. And then next near is the visible part. So we start to move into the visible, and I'm not going to cover all the other visible parts. We're just going to stay focused on these four. And red light is visible. It's doesn't go as deep. And so the two things that make it different between near and red is it's red, it's colored, and it doesn't go as deep. So near penetrates, like it won't go all the way through your body. It's more superficial for the tissues, and it's good for collagen and elastin and mitochondria and some other benefits, which we can talk about. But that is an overview of the infrared spectrum, all four wavelengths, how it feels, and how it's different from traditional.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
You can ask
So
away.
I,
I'm here
I have
for
so
I'm
many
here,
questions.
I'm here for you. I'm here for Girlish Gurus.
All right.
So when I go in, most of the time I either use the pain relief or the detox. Now,
Yes.
just from what you're saying, with the detox setting, would that be more of the near infrared or does it, I mean, I know that it kind of mixes everything up while you're in there. It changes settings, I guess, while you're in there for, I'm usually in there like 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
Yes. There are six wellness programs is what she's talking about
Yeah.
that they're specifically in the Impulse sauna, which is what's behind me. We have four different collections. Impulse is a unicorn. There's nothing like it. We can talk about that more, a little bit more in depth later. But essentially, it's the only product on the market that gives you four separate independent wavelengths, far, mid, near, and red. And then what we've done, Sunlighten has done behind the scenes, we did this, started 18 years ago, brought it to market 16 years ago, is we developed with Dr. Whalen, I mentioned him, and some other scientists, six different programs that change the delivery and change the pulsations and the frequency of each wavelength based on science. So there's a cardio program for the optimal health,
Mhm.
heart health. That program is has different components, different recipes. We'll make it easy to talk girl language, different recipes,
Yeah.
um, each one, and it has also different links. So back to your exact question, for the detoxification one, detoxification's benefits primarily come from the far infrared wavelength. And
Mm.
that's really important to know because the heat stress, because you're not getting heat with near or red. As much as I love both of those, they're not creating a state of hormesis. They're not increasing your core temperature. You're not going to sweat because of those two. The detoxification comes from the far infrared absorption
Ah,
into the body, the increase in core temperature, and the movement, what I talked about, that dancing that starts to move everything around immediately, even without sweat. You start to impact the different detox pathways. And it
okay.
moves everything, which is so beneficial for removing toxins out of our body. We have all these things that come in, they just come at you every single day. I mean, there's nothing you can do unless you just hide. You're exposed
Yeah.
all the time. And so sweat is one way to detoxify, but obviously we all know there's multiple other ways. And the great thing about far infrared and mid, because mid is there for heat stress as well. So it's a little bit hotter. So mid also helps. The two together have a great synergistic benefit. Those two together help to make sure that every single system is moving and adjusting and optimizing, kind of where they really start to get active. And then as a result, you get rid of the mercury and other types of toxicants in the body. You start to increase the oxygen. You start to get the good stuff back going and let the bad stuff get out.
Recently, I do the function labs.
Oh yeah,
And
I love that. I do too.
yeah,
Did you
and
just do it for the first time?
no, this was my second year that I'm doing it.
Okay.
So I am 14 years younger than my chronological age. So that was good news. But I did notice that all the like mercury levels are low, 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 low on all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, I use that sauna regularly. So I know that that is contributing to those benefits. But I love to see all the results after using the sauna
Yeah, I do
in the
too. And
labs. Yeah.
back in the day, back when people, we didn't have social and the world wasn't the way it was, and people communicated.
Right.
They would actually write letters. It was
Yeah.
just different. They would send us their blood work. It was so awesome. They would go, like,
Wow.
they would call us and they would, like, back then, like the main people that we talked to were people that were really, really, they were like my brother. They were really sick. Somebody had heard about infrared. They directed them to Sunlighten and they started the journey. And so they were already working with, probably a functional health, maybe a regular physician. And they were already getting data. And so they would share like their triglycerides and they would share their glucose and they would share their cortisol, all these important things that I know we'll talk about and share the before and after. And I mean, it was just crazy the difference. I mean,
Yeah.
it was this wonderful, I mean, you have your own business, keep going forward, keep going forward. You don't have a boss to tell you good job.
All right.
So, you really, you
Although I
don't.
tell Joy all the time.
Oh,
Well,
I tell you all
that
the
is
time too, honey. Yes.
that is awesome. But I mean, you don't have somebody like, and so I really relied when we were starting our business, I relied on the feedback from our
Of
customers to
course. Yeah.
fuel me and to keep me going. It's like, okay, I can do this another day,
Yeah.
because it's hard. And so,
It is. Oh yeah.
the stories were, they still are. I mean, in fact, I just sent right before I came in here a note to our team, our sales team, because I'm sharing that with them, some new cutting edge information. And I said, will you please share with
Oh.
me the success stories from customers? I miss them.
That's great. Well, since we're talking about the benefits, right, and labs specifically, how can you explain how infrared benefits? Because most of the women that are listening to this are probably perimenopause through postmenopause. So, how it affects inflammation specifically during those years and the stress levels.
Yeah, well, let's talk about inflammation first, because there's some really fantastic data that everybody will be happy to hear with specifically with far infrared, and that's the heat one. That's the one that's in heat. It's really far infrared. Let's just put this out there because this is important for people. Far infrared is the foundation of that infrared spectrum. It's like when you're building a home, it's the foundation. It is everything. You need that. Everything else goes kind of, with
Mhm.
it and complements it. So far infrared, as far as inflammation, again, that absorption that goes into the water molecules into your body activates a very specific gene that controls inflammation. So it helps. So for women who are listening and they want to turn back the biological clock, I mean, that's my favorite part about doing that function lab test.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, right? Is like, okay, I want to keep turning it back. The number one way you can do that is by decreasing inflammation in your body. And we know for sure that far infrared helps to do that through, you know, um, activating that gene that starts to decrease, all of the inflammation that exists, get everything under control. And the other wavelengths they all offer inflammatory benefits as well. Far infrared is just the one that's at the core. So the
Well,
perfect world, go ahead.
can I ask you? Sorry, because
Yes, anything.
Lorraine's the science one, so
Okay.
she has a much better understanding about this than I do. We have spoken a lot about inflammation on the podcast,
Yes.
and she and I have talked about it before. My understanding is that far infrared penetrates deeper into the body, possibly all the way through it, right? And that's how
That's
it turns on that gene or turns it off. Does that?
So near infrared is the only one of the four that can go all the way through.
Okay,
And
okay.
that's because it's light energy that actually physically penetrates. Far infrared, think of it, you know, think of it like this. We talked about, because you said, oh, I know how that feels when you walk outside in the sun. You feel that energy, right? That energy is not penetrating, it's being absorbed, and that, which is infrared, and that absorption, that wonderful feeling, comes from the energy being absorbed. That's what far infrared does. Think of it again. Another analogy is like if you have a favorite food, that you find what different ways to get like the maximum absorption. Like you find, you have a supplement. You feel like certain supplements work better than others because some are more bioavailable. farm for red is works with your body so well. It's so
Ah,
bioavailable. It is absorbed, and then that energy that's absorbed doesn't penetrate the tissues and all that. It works with your body. So that by it working with your body, it starts to see the receptors that are inflamed and aren't working correctly and starts to regulate those.
gotcha.
So there's
That makes sense.
it's way more complicated than that, but I'm trying to just like simplify it. But that's essentially high level how it works. I get really excited about farm fed and inflammation because there's not a lot of products or modalities or just like things that we can do and have in our home that's not medicine or that's not intense that we know clinically activates a gene inside our body to control. It's just
Okay.
pretty powerful, you know? So if you just did farm for which we did for until 2010, so however many years that was, that's all we talked about. I mean, it's really enough to get, I mean, that's what my brother did to get rid of his mercury, right? Because that's the one that gets rid of all the bad stuff. The other ones start to complement in other ways, and they work in a broader, they don't work as deep. So they do different effects. So that's inflammation. Go ahead. Do you have another question, Joy?
Well, I think that that ties directly into menopause symptoms,
Yes.
Mhm.
right? That's my understanding. And those symptoms can be so pronounced and they're so complicated. And I feel like if there's something more simple, a more simple modality to try to calm those symptoms down, then that's a huge deal.
Yeah, huge benefit. And we have a program specifically designed, like we were talking about earlier with Lorraine, you know, we have a pain relief program that specifically focuses on all the inflammatory markers on your body on all the four wavelengths. So instead of worrying, is this going to get my inflammation down? Is this going to take care of my pain? You just go inside, press the pain relief, and it fires up and it has all the science behind it to take away everything. The other thing about menopause is the whole thermoregulation. So, you know, when so people will experience they'll have issues sleeping because of
Mhm.
their the way their system is, you know, they'll get hot flashes. Like so many things are not being regular. It's not your body's not regulated. And infrared, all of the wavelengths in general, so we'll just say all of them are excellent at regulating, you know, the body and getting you back on track. So it's a great tool. And then the last benefit that I'll talk about specifically with people who are going through these situations is the whole mood aspect. I mean, there's so much data. There's a study that was done at UCSF on major depressive disorder, and it showed that uh, time inside a far infrared sauna, 11 out of 12 patients no longer qualified, no longer met the criteria for major depressive disorder after using a sauna. So that's some serious mood lifting,
It's
you
incredible.
know.
Yeah.
And I always feel, I mean, you know, I go and go and go and go and go, and I pack my day. I mean, I just have every, you know, minute packed, and at the end of my day, you know, I have been carrying literally a ton of stress, right? And so the feeling of going inside the sauna and lifting the mood and just being able to go in heavy and come out light and airy and happy is such a gift. It's a gift really we all should give ourselves, especially those who are going through everything like all of your listeners.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I have the best night's sleep when I do it in the evenings before, hitting the sack. It's just so relaxed. You could just feel the stress melt away after being in the sauna.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
agreed.
it.
Yeah,
Love
That's
it.
there's
amazing.
benefits for both. There's benefits for the morning,
Hmm.
and there's also benefits for the evening. I know my tracker, my Garmin watch, always that they don't I have a separate label for when I go inside. I call it Sunlighten. Imagine that. So they always have, you know, they track your activity, right? So it compliments me on good job getting all that activity done early in the day. That led to a better night's sleep. I'm like, yes.
So
Awesome.
I don't understand why, and again, we talk a lot about this on the podcast. Um, no one is talking about what a huge benefit this therapy is for women who are in peri and postmenopause. And I feel like this is such an important topic to discuss because our environment is so full of hormone disruptors. And so, one of the things that Lorraine and I discussed a bit before coming on the podcast with you is detoxification. We've actually talked about that a fair amount over the years. And can you give us a little bit of background about, from a science standpoint, what detoxification means and how the sauna plays into that? I know you've talked about it a little bit, but if you could just kind of deep dive into that, that would
Yeah.
be wonderful.
Yeah, let me about probably easiest way to understand that is mention a study that was done. And it was done by Dr. Genuis in Canada. And I love the intention of his study. He wanted to help women who were about to conceive, who were trying to conceive. He wanted to help find ways to protect their bodies from toxins. And so he went on this journey to understand the body better and to understand the power of sweat. And so he did a study called the BUS study, which stands for blood, urine, and sweat, and then measured them all. And the most powerful part, I mean, there were so many things that were powerful about this study, but one of my favorite nuggets was that so like actually none of the participants had a detectable level of mercury in their blood or urine, but 15% of those tested that tested nothing, zero in blood and urine, had mercury in their sweat.
Yeah.
So when
Wow.
we talk about the importance of sweating and detoxification, that, I mean, if that doesn't like highlight, I mean, it's so incredibly important. And it's important as far as physiologically to get the heat stress into your body. What's so beautiful about infrared heat stress versus traditional heat stress is it's, especially for women in this situation, is it's more gentle and kind to your body and you can stay in there longer. So it's this, it helps promote all the natural activities that we need, the movement inside, the flow, the increased oxygen, the increased circulation. Let's talk about that for just 1 second, because back in the basement, when we found, or actually somebody found us and introduced us to the Sunlighten Solo, which was the origin of our patented high emissive solo carbon technology. And so we discovered that, and it was the first time when I was using the very first time that I did not always have cold hands and cold feet and feel like my circulatory system was messed up. And it changed like the thermoregulation. It was just absolutely amazing. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, this is what normal people feel like. This is crazy. So awesome. So that's another one of the benefits is the increased circulation and the way it's just helping overall with our circulatory system. But the lightening of the toxic burden, back to that BUS study, because that was your question, they found removal of cadmium, aluminum, lead, mercury, a lot of other types of, plastics. I mean, some serious things that
Yeah.
are stored in our body that are hormone disruptors, like you just talked about.
Hmm.
And this is a great way to not have all this disruption and get your body back in balance and back, in a healthy state so that you're not so erratic, you know. So that's one of the ways that it can work, and that's one of the scientific support for removing, harmful toxins from the body with infrared. And it did say in that study, just it should be noted, that there was it was more powerful removing toxins through sweat than it was exercise and traditional saunas.
Oh,
Wow, that's amazing. We need to be
and
talking about this more,
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of when you were discussing about the heat aspect, like in a
Yeah.
traditional sauna, I remember being a kid going into the first sauna and not being able to breathe.
Hmm.
It was just so suffocating that we would have to have like a wet washcloth to be able to breathe on our face. And this is so different than that. So different. You can go in
So
there,
different.
it's warm, but you can breathe easily and it doesn't have that suffocating effect at all, but you
Yeah,
feel
that
good.
was one of the hardest challenge. I'm glad you brought that up, Lorraine, when we first started, especially I can remember talking to women and they would be like, whoa, 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 absolutely not. No way, no how. Don't want anything to do with it. I am not going in that box. Like it was
Yeah.
just, I can't breathe. I feel like it's not the feeling that I want. And I'm like, you have to at least just let me open the door so you can sense the energy transfer. I mean, it's energy medicine. That's the business that we're in. Our bodies are bodies of energy. Everything that we touch, it's all, types of energy. And so this is a healing energy that's safe and natural and necessary for all living things. And we're just bringing it inside so that people can enjoy it and use it.
But I can see menopausal women saying, "Don't bring me heat." You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Right.
No, no.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I'm like, you just have to like go in, so one person, one woman at a time.
Hmm.
Connie
Yeah.
Zack set on a mission
Yeah.
to convert
Well,
and educate.
we're trying to help you with that today. So,
Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I'm happy to talk about this whenever. It's so, I'm very I like one of my before Sunlight, one of my goals, at Procter was to, help women support women. It was really important to me because I was in the corporate world and it was just a different world, and weren't very many of us, and so whenever I would find, somebody, it was just like, let's do this together, and so whatever I can do to help you guys or the women of the world, I'm count me in.
Yeah, and that's where we
wonderful.
come from. That's basically how this
Hmm.
podcast started, just to inspire women that these are our best years and no endings, just new beginnings.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah,
New
yeah.
beginnings. I
New
love that.
beginnings. So this next question I have for you. This is the one that is particularly special to me because how I first bought my sauna, why I bought it. I was diagnosed with osteoporosis in my left hip. I was shocked when I went because my previous bone scans were normal, everything was good, but I never had anyone tell me you should be doing this, this, and this to protect your bones. And I did not do HRT. I had chose not to, but it was like K2 and D3 and all of those. Nobody said anything, so or even what type of exercise to do. And I knew like strength training, which I had done. So I had read about the sauna and the impact it could have on bone health. There's several things that I put in my toolbox, and this was 3 years ago. One of them was power plate that helped too, but the sauna was such a big part of it. And 2 years later, I went for my bone scan and no more osteoporosis. So I it reversed it, even though they say you cannot reverse it. Ladies, you can reverse it. And I said that was just one of the major tools in my toolbox. So can you just talk a little bit about how the infrared sauna helps with the bone health?
Yeah, there is a great study. Going back to study, I hope people like studies that are listening to
We
this.
do.
There's,
We
Okay,
do.
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay. Um, there's a great study with mice. There's studies with humans too. So keep listening. But this is just really important because it's just a great edge for me. I'm a visual learner, and so I'm also very skeptical person. So I really have to believe. Like you have to really beat me up in
yeah.
order for me to convince me. So anyway, back to the mice. So there's a study in Sweden where they exposed brand newborn mice right away to heat. It called it heat stress, but it was really 93 degrees, I believe, Fahrenheit. So it's not what we would think of as heat stress.
Mhm.
Um, but they were doing it to to strengthen them. And they measured their bones, and they were longer and stronger than mice that they didn't do that to. Isn't that fascinating?
Mhm.
So same thing with humans, same data. The conclusion is that the heat stress, I'm not like a huge fan of that word, but the word stress is important on the body because just like lifting weights or, doing cold or doing things that stress out your body, it does make you
Good stress.
stronger. Right. Good stress. Right,
Good
right, right.
stress.
So that's what the infrared does for your bones is heat real positively impacts your bone joints, and it can reverse osteoporosis. And there's
That's
plenty of
amazing.
data out there that support that. Of course, with any of these things we're talking about, right? Like we're all N of ones. We're all unique. We're all unicorns, and we're two people alike. So just note that not everybody's going to have the same, impact, but there's way more positive information out there that's definitely worth, exploring it and experiencing it. And definitely for osteoporosis, I love, there's so many different articles about the support of heat on strengthening, making your bones stronger and longer, as well as just not being even qualified, not even being osteopenic, much less
Right.
osteoporosis.
Well, you definitely want to do things to prevent it from ever getting to that point. And for women, we are at higher risk than men. And with the increase of osteoporosis, especially in women, one fall could lead to death. Basically, I think there was like a 50% chance or even higher of a
Mhm.
woman having just one fall, breaking a hip, and never returning home again. So, to pay attention to our bones, this is just one tool and a good tool for women to pay attention to.
Hey, Lorraine, don't forget, it's time for us to schedule our Lifeline screening appointments. They're 5 simple tests to help us keep on top of our heart and bone health, which is important for women over 45.
Yes, Lifeline Screening has been the premier provider of preventative health screening for over 30 years. In that time, over 10 million people have had screenings to detect their risk of stroke, cardiovascular disease, and other chronic illnesses. Lifeline Screening can provide meaningful benefits for your body and mind, and that's why they're committed to delivering accurate results and recommendations that could give you a healthier advantage in your everyday life, such as early detection of serious conditions, prevention of disease progression, peace of mind so you can enjoy life, savings with more affordable screenings, and no insurance required.
Yep, and don't forget, by using the link in the show notes of this episode, you get a special offer available to Girlish Gurus listeners, so make sure and schedule your appointment.
Get peace of mind now. Here's to your good health.
Well, we really just need to raise the visibility of it. We need to be talking about it because if it weren't for you, Lorraine, I wouldn't even know about the benefits of Sunlighten and red light therapy. I just really, I'm constantly shocked at how little information there is about women's health that's readily available. It's astounding to me, but I could get on my soapbox about that, and I won't.
Connie, was there anything else that you wanted to add to the bone health part of the sauna?
I will mention that there is a lot of data on infrared and exercise, tolerance, exercise capacity, meaning that if somebody uses infrared, they're going to have higher capacity to exercise. There's a study where they did a 6-minute walk before infrared and then after. And this was in elderly patients. And this is also in elderly patients with congestive heart failure. So, I mean,
Wow.
wow. So these people had a certain walk distance, right? Before using infrared, they could go so far. After infrared, they had increased their walk distance in 6 minutes. So in 6 minutes, they could go farther. Every time I
That's
say that, I
amazing.
think I had this like vision of how happy were they? You know, like you could
Yeah.
just
Right.
picture like an elderly person like walking and like, oh my gosh, I did it. Like you know, I went front. I
Yeah.
mean, that,
Amazing.
right. That confidence, that freedom, that investment in our bodies and the ability to move more. I mean, there is a lot of data, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. And I mean, it is so important to move our bodies, right? It is
Yes.
so, that movement is so important. And I, you know, since I'm, you know, with Sunlighten, I'm like, let's move our bodies externally and then let's move our bodies internally. And we do
Yeah.
that with the far infrared and the mid infrared. That gets the flow going. It gets everything going and everything moving internally. The amount of blood flow that occurs at the rate in which it occurs when you're inside an infrared sauna almost triples when you're in there. So when you just think about the importance of circulation, you go for a walk and everything starts moving, you feel better, you have more
Mhm.
energy. That's because you're getting more oxygen into
Mhm.
your tissues, you're getting more oxygen to your brain, you can think clearer. I don't know how many times you've ever gone for a walk and you're just like, oh my God, I just solved the world's problems. I just, you know, I mean that's what happens every single time I'm inside my sauna because it's a far infrared sauna, a Sunlighten sauna, is an exercise mimetic. So it mimics the benefits of exercise. A lot of people don't have time, or they just, for whatever reason, they just can't exercise as consistently as they want to. And this is a great replacement for that, as well as an adjunctive. There's also data on the working, doing the two together and the importance of doing, if you're going to exercise, then sauna afterwards.
Mm. And it's great
Yeah.
to do it with a partner. My husband and I often are in there together. It's a good way to de-stress together. We have, especially, I love the music and we have the lights in there and the whole thing.
Don't
So
say
it's,
wine. Don't
oh,
say
stop.
wine.
It leads to better that,
Hey,
but
hey.
it's but it's just a great time to spend time and de-stress together and other stuff.
And other stuff. You know, we had to make jokes about that for sure. Okay,
You guys are
so
so fun. I'm coming here whenever you want.
we
Hanging
do
out with
have
the two of you.
a fun time, and we're always, you know, making jokes about that. But this does lead me to my next question, and that is, what's the best and smartest way for someone to use red light therapy, Sunlighten specifically, during perimenopause or menopause? And how often should you use it? How long? What's the best way to fit that in? Because, you know, partly we are in, specifically me, I can speak from my own experience. Perimenopause was I was just exhausted all the time. And I was constantly reaching for assistance. And it was kind of like being in the dark. Fortunately, again, my dear friend Lorraine, who is a certified health coach and she focuses on menopausal women and promoting their health. We talked a lot about the red light therapy and everything else, but can you explain for our listeners how they can fit that into whatever other treatments they're using to help with their symptoms?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with let's recommend for everybody, if you're just getting started, you haven't used a Sunlighten sauna at all, you want to kind of know where to start. I'm going to just really quickly walk you through the different options and what you'll get with those options. So I'm going to go to our collections. Um, so if you can't get one and have it in your own home, there are business locations, so that's, you know, separate, that you can, you know, search and see, you know, where can I use the Sunlighten sauna. So you can do that. We work with a ton of businesses. I mean, we've been doing this for 25 years, so we have a lot of commercial partners. So that also is an option. But I always encourage people who haven't heard of this, it's new, they're scared because they're like, I don't know, what if I don't like it? What if it doesn't work? Blah, blah, blah. Then start with the Sunlighten Solo. So the Sunlighten Solo is a lie down portable two dome design. It's telescopic. The lower dome goes into the upper dome, so it's about 2 feet by 3 feet. that you can, store away, or you can leave it out all the time. It's really intense, and it's extremely, extremely therapeutic. It focuses on the highest quantity of far infrared being absorbed into the body. Again, that's the wavelength that's going to help your body detox. It's going to help control the hormone disruption. You're going to have more energy. You're going to feel better. You're going to sweat, and you're going to reduce the inflammation. So it's going to turn back the clock. You're getting like the majority of benefits with the far infrared sunlight solar system, and it's easy peasy, lemon breezy, plug it in and you're done. I mean, there isn't anything it's easier, and you can't get more anywhere else than with the Sunlighten Solo. Then there's a signature series, which is if you don't want to lie down and be in, it's kind of like they're domes, right? If you don't want to be in that type of environment, then you can have the same experience in the signature series, which is a cabin with the same heaters, the patented heaters with the highest absorption into the body. Those two are your foundations. Okay. You will not be disappointed. You will not feel like you sacrificed. That's really important. So then the other two, Amplify for this audience, I'm going to move over because Amplify is more of an intense experience, and the right collections that I'm going to recommend for everybody is the Solo, the Signature, or Impulse for this audience specifically, because I know what people are going through and what they're looking for. With Impulse, you're getting the far infrared all the way around you. Then we separate out mid infrared. So this is really great for helping to reduce the inflammation in your muscles and your tissues. And a lot of times as we age, we even sometimes going for a walk or stretching, you start to do things that never used to hurt at all. You're just like, oh my gosh, I feel that now. It's like, whoa, I didn't really do anything. Well, that helps instantly. So it's amazing. It's like magic. So then there's the near infrared, which is the one that I talked about that's so powerful, that penetrates the skin and can go all the way through. This is a light that's excellent for helping to give you more energy. And when you talked about you were exhausted, you mean all of the wavelengths will help you get more energy, but this one works, it penetrates, so it works directly with your mitochondria. It essentially, think of it this way, it impacts your body battery directly. Far infrared is going to impact your body battery from the absorption from the core. Near infrared and red light, near infrared just goes deeper. So I'm really focusing on that, because you can't, if you just did red, you're missing the boat. Like you're just missing the boat altogether. Like then you didn't listen to anything that I said. You really have to do the near, and the data that is behind it about how much more energy, more ATP, like that you receive as a result of penetrating and shining this light onto your cells is astounding. Absolutely astounding, especially when you connect it to longevity, and you compare it, to in animal models, shining on near infrared with flies and with mice, the difference in their movement and everything. I mean, flies live 21 days, but yet when they would interrupt the cycle, and then give red light and near infrared, it would extend, their life cycle. So just, incredible, incredible data on all four wavelengths in Impulse specifically. So those would be how you would get started. I would recommend, contacting Sunlighten directly, or you could go to our social. Our team is, they're just so dedicated and committed to helping people achieve, their wellness goals. And so we have a full team here that's staffed and ready to go. But that's the other thing, once you get it, because I won't be there talking to you, is you want to start low and slow, and you want to find the right system that works for you. Thing that I want to say, it's really important, is when you get it, consistency beats intensity. Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's more important to be consistent than intense. Don't have the mindset of like, I'm going to go in there the first time for an hour. Don't have that. It's better to do 15 minutes every other day. That's how I would recommend you start off 3 to 4 times a week. And then you can work up to 30 to 40 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week. That would be amazing.
So for perimenopause through postmenopausal women to go from managing their symptoms to building resilience. So it would be using, like, what would you recommend? Just gradual use, changing up maybe the programs if they have the impulse.
Yes, exactly. Gradual, for sure, gradual
Hmm.
introductions, 15 minutes, and like start off with 3 times a week, and then do 15 minutes 4 times, and then do 20 minutes 3 times, and then do 20 minutes 4 times. You're gonna find that the right formula that works with your body there, it's a transfer of energy, and our bodies are, everybody's going through different things, and it may be for you 15 minutes consistently, somebody else it may be 20, somebody else it may be 40, and sometimes, like for me over the weekend, I mean, normally I'm a 15 to 20 minute, just I go in and I just have my own routines. Over the weekend, I was in there 40 minutes. I couldn't get out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just can't. My body, I mean, it was just, I could tell my nervous system, not my nervous system, my tissues, my muscles, like I just had the
You needed
perfect,
it.
yeah, the perfect
Sometimes you just
blend.
need it. Yeah.
Yeah, of everything being, my body battery was at zero. My gas was at zero, and so I needed as much fuel as possible to get my battery back to restored, and I feel great now.
And how wonderful it's right there and you can jump in.
I love it. And we have an app with Impulse that you can just turn it on. You can just turn on the app, and so
I'll have it ready.
That's my
yeah, have
husband's
it.
job. He always said, "Do you want to go in the sauna?" Yep. Then he's on the app. He sets it
Yep,
up.
turn it on.
And I just have to say that your customer support is fantastic because anytime he had, like, I think maybe one of our lights went out or something and he couldn't
Yeah.
quite figure out what to, he was just able to get the answer right away. They actually sent us a part right away that we needed, and they were just fabulous. So
Oh, thank you so
kudos.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you for the
kudos to them.
feedback.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
we are going to make sure to put links to your social, your
Yes,
website, everything in the show notes for sure. So anyone who needs any of that information, it's going to be right there for you.
absolutely.
Yeah, and we have a special treat because Sunlighten has been so generous to offer anyone listening to this a special discount. This episode is airing in late May, so they will be having their Memorial Day sale. So if you use our discount code Girlish Gurus, you will receive a fabulous surprise discount because it's coming up. So we'll see. But that will be in the show notes also. The link and the code will be there. So I hope that you will consider checking into that for your health. So, Connie, if someone is considering purchasing a sauna, what should they look for as far as safety, as
Mm,
reliability, effectiveness? What should they look for?
yeah, that's a really loaded question.
For
I
sure.
mean, that's another podcast. I will make it as short and sweet as I possibly can. But there's a lot of noise, girls, in this space right now. A lot. It is so noisy. I feel for people. So I'm so glad that you're doing what you're doing, and then you're providing all this information to people. And so people listening, I mean, this is such a gift, that you have people who care about you and they're providing this information and doing it in such a fun, informative way. Okay, so what are you going to look for? First of all, all infrared is not the same because most people don't even give you the entire infrared spectrum. In fact, most people don't even give you very much of the far infrared, which is the one that everybody needs. This is the foundation. It's the one they need the most, for sure. For sure. They need far infrared the most, and the second most they need near. Like break it down. They can make it super, super simple. But if you can only have far, that's good enough. So don't let good enough be the enemy of perfection. So make sure you do your research on the quantity, the amount that's absorbed into the body, and everybody should have, like we have, United States independent third-party testing on everything we do. So this is something, because we had to learn, right? Like, so how else are we gonna, I mean, what everybody else does is they import stuff and they take the word for it from the people they're importing it from overseas, and then they put their name on it and the way it goes, but they don't have any control over what goes on with that manufacturing process. I mean, we make our own heaters, we make our own heating elements, we make our own special sauce, we control the recipe, we control the manufacturing from start to finish. So that's really important. Again, I told you it was a separate podcast. Okay, let me get to some of the others. Okay, so the quantity and quality of infrared, whether or not you want far infrared, mid, near, or red, the frequency at which it's delivered, the safety of the sauna, the EMF, you need to see the testing from the United States. It's really important because there's all sorts of really bad testing from overseas that they just, put tests out. So also the safety, people don't ever talk about the safety of the materials used inside the cabin if you're buying a cabin. And that's really important because when you heat up anything, you change the environment. And we know from history, we know from the basement, if you don't have good quality wood, it starts there. Because when you heat it up, if you have like a hemlock wood or like different types of spruce woods, there's oils that are inside the wood. And so that's going to be inside the cabin, and you may or may not be able to tolerate that, and so that's really important. The quality of the wood, the quality of the materials, the type of the assembly. I'm going rapid fire here. That's really kind of a good overview of what they should look for. But it's a lot, because it's become so noisy and so confusing.
And you have on your website, do you have like links to studies and
Yes.
things? Okay, so people can actually go there and see the studies that have been done specifically on sunlight.
Yes. Like we have a core temperature study because it's important to know that so many of these benefits I talked about today are connected to the fact that we can increase your core temperature by up to 3 degrees. That's really important for this flow that I'm talking about. It's important for the detoxification part. It's important for all the systems to work synergistically, like symphonically together. That's important. And so you need to know that you are going to do that. You need to know, like we did a study on UMKC that tested the health benefits. That's out there. Our emissivity, our absorption, all of our materials, our EMF, everything is tested by third-party companies in the United States.
As a holistic health coach, this is what is comforting to me. Like when I pick a company and purchase their product, I want to know all of that stuff. I want to know that it's safe. I want to know you've done your background and your studies and everything.
Yes.
So yeah, due diligence. Thank you. And so I am so happy to have found Sunlighten. Honestly. Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy that I connected with you both. You've really literally have made I have a really big meeting coming up after this, and there could not have been a better predecessor. I mean, I'm going to go in that meeting. I'm just going to be like, I'm a woman. I am on fire.
That's right. Go get him.
I was just with the Girlish Gurus. You have no idea what's coming at you.
That's right.
Perfect. Okay, so now we have a great way to end this. And Joy has a couple of questions for you.
Putting both feet on the ground.
That's right. And when you answer these questions, you're going to be loaded for bear. You're going to be ready. Yeah, for your big meeting. Okay. So one of the things we like to do, one way to wrap up the episode, is especially when we have women like you who you've got great experience, you started your own company, there's so much about your philosophy that would benefit our listeners. And in order to help you share that, we have these questions that we ask. So,
and
don't be afraid. No.
They're the usual.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So the first question is, if your 80-year-old self could whisper something to you right now, what would she say?
It's going to be okay, Connie.
Yep.
That's what she'd say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We worry too much.
Well, also, when you're taking out a mortgage on your house and you're all
Yeah.
in and there's no safety net, I get
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I get that. That makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck. Yeah.
Yeah, me
Well,
too.
I
Me too. That hit like that you will never erase those memories, right? Like,
never.
you'll never erase the like literally minute by minute and me calling I don't want to use her name here, but she was, her first name was Jamie um at for Fifth Third Bank. And I mean I literally I called her many times every single day and I'm like, did we get a loan approved yet? Do we get a loan approved yet? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Like what do you need from me? She's like, Connie, you don't work for P&G anymore. Like it's not the same.
Right.
And I mean, you persevere. Obviously, you had passion, you had grit, and you made it happen. So kudos.
Still,
Yeah.
yeah, kudos
Yeah.
for sure. But
Yeah.
I can relate
Yeah.
because in my early days when I had my little law practice and I was trying to make it happen, there were some hair-raising moments there. So that's an excellent one.
Yeah.
All right, question two.
Okay.
What's your midlife superpower? The thing you never realized you'd be this good at?
Resilience. Resilience is my for sure. I mean, yeah, I never ever in a million years thought I would be able to rebound and bounce back. I have two kids. So I have a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old. My 18-year-old is a senior in high school, which has its own set of emotions. My 16-year-old is committed. He's all in on soccer, which has its own set of emotions because I, want him to also live life. And, so um, just the ability to dig deep and have strength. Because I look at resilience. So I also say resilience and positivity. So, resilience and plus the positive attitude. I get to do things and I control the narrative that I tell myself. I'm not perfect and I make so many mistakes. But I have noticed that if you can control the narrative, you can control what you're telling yourself, then you control, the outcome and the feelings that you have and how you present yourself and how you show up. And when you show up, with resilience and a positive attitude, the domino effect and the energy transfer that has on everybody else, just leads them to believe I can do that too. I can, and that's powerful. If we all believed in ourselves and we all would pick ourselves up quickly, when we need to and come back at it with a positive attitude, you just make such a difference in this world.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
preach.
and then also to have a community of women who are there to support you. I feel like I feel that in like the space that we're in, that
Yeah.
there's not the competition, there's not whatever.
No.
It's like support, just support one another, especially during these years where we're finding ourselves again. It's yeah, resilience is a big part, and it's good to even lean on people.
Yes.
Lean on them. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally agree.
we're
Yeah.
unfortunate in that regard, and that's something that we as women, if we let ourselves,
Yeah.
we can be really, really good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we accept ourselves for the beautiful human beings that we are and not like women a lot of times will like they will lower and
Yes.
dim their light and oh I'm really not that good at that, or oh no really wasn't that, that thing that I brought to dinner, I didn't work on it for 3 hours, like it's no big deal, it's an old recipe, whatever. And instead, she'd be like, hell yeah.
That's
I'm
right.
proud of this.
Yes.
I mean, it's like I always tell, when I like tonight I'm making, I know what I'm making for dinner, and I always share, I'm like, guys, this is made with so much love. Like this is me pouring like everything I have into this and just being like, I'm doing this because I can't wait to sit down with everybody and hear about your day and just like, I'm not going to apologize or say, can't believe that. So
That's the
anyway.
next question, a third question.
Oh, no. Okay.
What's something you stopped apologizing for? Ah, Connie, it's like it's kismet. It's like you were
Oh my
made
gosh.
for
What
this.
is something, oh my goodness. And that's a great question. What is something that I've stopped apologizing for? I, I've stopped apologizing. I just said this to our sales team last week. So let me answer the question and then I can tell you what I said to the sales team. But I've stopped apologizing for, I work really hard and I'm committed and I'm all in. So when you do all of that, and you have great results, you should not apologize for that. You should not you worked, it's like my son's, this is a better analogy. My son's high school swim coach, my son's a swimmer, he went to state all 4 years and this last year he swam in this relay and they medaled. And so he stood on the podium and he went to his coach and he's like, Coach, I got my medal. And the coach said, you didn't get a medal. You earned that. Mm. And that's how I feel as women. Like we earn things, we earn the right to stand proud and not apologize, for whatever.
For working hard to get there, for
right.
shining brightly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what I told the sales team, to put it in perspective, to finish that thought, because this is a commercial world, right? Where, people are always looking for the, highest quality thing, the fastest at the lowest price. And, there's like this formula that people are looking for. And if you have something that has a price tag that is more than, imitators and things that are less, not only in price, but in value and in effectiveness and results, you should not, nor will I allow them to apologize, defend, they just need to help people understand this is not the same thing. And so you're comparing things that don't even belong in the same category. And I'm not going to apologize for the fact that this cost X. That's what it is. It's an expensive technology. These materials are expensive. If you want really great things, you're a lot of times you have to pay for them. Otherwise, you'll end up paying the price for not having it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Michelle Robin, she's like you. I mean, she's a wellness coach, a wellness practitioner. She's absolutely one of the most amazing people here in Kansas City. And when she was starting her business, she started a business called Your Wellness Connection. She's a chiropractor and just one of the most beautiful people on the planet. And she would always say, here's the deal. You're going to pay me now or you're going to pay me later.
That's right.
Right.
So pick your poison, which one's it going to be? Because you're going to pay at some point if you don't do it right. And that's a great question. Hats off to you. Nobody's ever asked me that question before. And what? I'm going to I don't know if you guys do this. I know I'm going to be driving and be like, okay, what else have I stopped apologizing for?
Yeah. That's part of the point.
Yeah.
That's something that, sure. And it's a good reminder for me with Lorraine, we got to know our worth, right?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And no apologizing. Yeah.
Yeah. Worth is a, an excellent word to summarize all of that. I love that. And I'm going to steal that. So thank you for giving me that nugget, because that's, that's it. And the other thing I will say, because this is the last thing I'll say, but is...
You have to come back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Is the whole saying no, the whole boundaries aspect. I don't know if you guys have changed at all. I still have work to do. So I'm still not there. But I have done a much better job in saying no and not apologizing. And just be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And just think, you know what? if I do that, that frees me up to say yes to something else. And that's really important to me, like going to, my kids, swim meet or going to my kids' soccer match.
Right.
And if I'm tied up and I don't do that, then I'm going to be mad, and nobody wants mommy
Regretful.
mad.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
Connie, this has been such a pleasure. I'm
Oh,
so
wonderful.
happy that we got
Yes.
you on the podcast, and thanks to Vic for helping out. And we look forward to having you back on in the future. And again,
Aw.
for all the women out there listening, look for that discount code, because you're going to want to look at this Sunlighten sauna. You want to get healthy. You want to get healthy bones and healthy cells and
And just feel
detox
good.
and
Yeah. And
feel
feel good.
good, good
Yeah.
sleep, all the good stuff, all the good
Mhm.
stuff I'm experiencing for sure. So don't forget to give us a like, a share,
Mhm.
share it with your girlfriends for sure.
Oh, this is very important information. Like I said before, and I preach this a lot, we need to be talking about this as much as
Hmm.
possible because, as women, we want to live our best, happiest, healthiest lives and we want to feel good. And it doesn't matter how old you are, but especially in these peri and postmenopausal years. And so anything we can do to raise the visibility of this topic, it's very, very important. And that's why we do
Hmm.
what we do. So, yeah. Thank you so much for being here. It has been fantastic. I have enjoyed it and I've learned so much. Again, I'm not the science one, but any opportunity I get to try to wrap my mind around it, I'm really
Well,
thankful for that.
Well, thanks
thanks.
to both of you. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for all the inspiration. And most importantly, thanks for doing the work that you're doing to help women live more empowered lives and healthier lives.
Love
Thanks,
that.
Connie.
All
Thank you.
right. Well, I think that's it for this episode. And please, again, like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye-bye.
Mwah.
You all know we love sharing things that actually support women in this incredible stage of life. And we recently had Atessa Bradley, the founder of Standing Tall Foods, on the podcast. And we love what she and the brand stands for. Plus, we have tried the product and can vouch for the fact that it is delicious.
Right. And Standing Tall makes seasoned roasted soybeans crafted specifically for women in midlife. There are 3 delicious flavors: sea salt, chili lime, and salt and pepper. Each dry roasted to crunchy perfection. Unlike others, Standing Tall soybeans are premium, non-GMO, and sourced in North America only. And guess what? The nutrition is no joke. Each serving has 12 grams of high-quality protein, 2 grams of fiber, no sugar, and no cholesterol. Soy actually has twice the protein and half the fat of almonds.
We love that. But what we love most is the mission. Standing Tall exists to lift women up in midlife because we deserve real solutions, real nutrition, and real support.
Soy consumption is clinically linked to bone and muscle strength, heart health, fewer hot flashes, and improved skin elasticity. Soy is incredibly good for us. Standing Tall wants to make it easy for us to take charge of our health so we can live long, vibrant, and strong lives. If you want to try it, use our exclusive code, Girlish Gurus Get 15 for 15% off your first order.
We think you're going to love it.
For sure. Thanks for listening to this episode of Girlish Gurus. We hope you'll join us next time for more fun and inspiration. Be sure to check the description of this episode for links and information about the topic, and you can find us on our social media platforms starting with Instagram, Facebook, and now including YouTube. You can find us by searching Girlish Gurus, and you can also check out our website, girlishgurus.com, for more information on us, our projects, books, and our growing community.
And don't forget to download this episode, give it a good review, and share it with your girlfriends. We would also love to hear from you in the comments because the more interaction we get, the more episodes we can post. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.